Hello guys, this is a review of the movie Malignant. This is a relatively fresh film. It was released last year. This was actually a gift from my mom for Christmas. I think I would have purchased it myself eventually, but it wouldn't have been one of my first picks. I remember hearing all the buzz around it and I was like, okay, yeah. But judging even from the poster, I get an idea. I've been like collecting movies and watching DVD covers, enjoying DVD covers for a very long time, so I kind of know what the movie's about if they hire actually competent artists to represent more or less the field of the movie. And I think that the artist that did this cover really, hit the nail on the head. Um, I also realized that I forgot the names of the characters. I watched this like a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, but I do remember the plot. Um, Good enough to do a review. So let's start up with the plot, like I said, and then I'll get into my opinions about the film. And I'll finish my thoughts at what I was talking about earlier. I always go back and forth and all over the place. I'm sorry. This is just how I do things. Um, Here we go. So we're gonna call her Madison, right? Because that's what I think her name was. Madison is married to this abusive man. She's pregnant. She comes from work. This is how the movie begins, because it starts with like the little monster. Okay, let me go to the very beginning. I am so sorry. It starts with this patient, and I would say it's not a mental hospital. It's a hospital. His name is Gabriel, and he apparently has the power to control electricity and to communicate his thoughts through radio. It's pretty crazy. So he goes nuts and kills a bunch of people, and they decide, the doctor's like, oh, we're gonna kill the cancer. So they end up killing him. That's what happens. And then we start, like I said, with Madison. Madison, like I said, is pregnant, is not feeling well, and the husband just blames it all on her from the very beginning. It's like, oh, you've had all these miscarriages, like I can't see you killing my kid inside of you. And like it starts very like nasty, like from the very beginning. It's like you get a feeling like I don't like him and I like you. So that's good. It's very good to start letting us like kind of care for the main character. He ends up pushing her against the wall. She hits her head and starts bleeding, locks herself in the room, and when she wakes up, she realizes that her husband is dead. And she's having these visions of an intruder, obviously a criminal that goes around killing people. But every time she wakes up, she realizes that the dreams, the visions that she has are realities. So she's able to actually predict, well, not predict, but for example, if she dreams that the governor was murdered, then the governor is murdered. When she wakes up, he's dead. So you start to think maybe she has psychic abilities, and the police are after her. I think it doesn't say here, I tried to look, Kekoa Shaw. He's like the main detective, like the main cop in these horror movies, that everything revolves around them. He has a partner as well. So they're kind of like, okay, Madison, we feel you. You've been through a lot, and her sister's supporting her through the murder, and also through the abuse that she was subject to, because her sister didn't know. The husband made sure that she was disconnected from her family so that she couldn't get the help that she needed. This goes on throughout the film until nearing the end. Well, approaching the third act, it is revealed to us that Gabriel, whom we at first think it's an imaginary friend that is talking to Madison, well, from her childhood, we find out there are so many things that we find out in this film. We find out that her real name is Emily. We're gonna call her Emily. She was adopted by the family with whom she grew up with. Is that how you say, with whom she grew up with? She was adopted at the age of 8, and then her sister obviously was not even born. Gabriel, even back then, the imaginary friend, tried to get her to kill her sister, and she managed to stop herself. And from that point forward, Gabriel was no longer there. We're gonna call it like that. Then later, it is revealed to us that Gabriel was in fact the parasitic twin. He and Madison, or Emily, shared the same spine and the same brain. So obviously, Gabriel is the real killer, but he's using her body. At one point, they kidnap her biological mother, and then the cops think it's her, so they take her to jail. And while in jail, she murders almost everyone inside there, and then escapes. And near the end, there's, like, I'm saying it like it's normal. It's not normal. It's crazy, and it's very entertaining. Near the end, the sister, that's like the climax of the film, she's like, Gabriel has been feeding on your fetuses. That's why you've been having all these miscarriages, because he kills him. So Madison, I forgot to mention, but one of her biggest dreams in life is to be a mother. So she's like, ooh, she's amped up, she's fired up, she's ready to get revenge. So she gets control, because they share the same brain, right? So they go into this world, this plane, where she locks him up, and he's like, I'm gonna come out, and I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna attack you and kill everybody. And she's like, yeah, you might come out, but this time I'll be ready, I won't forget. So she ends up taking control of her body again, and I guess we leave off on that note. They live happily ever after. Ostensibly. This movie, like I was saying in the beginning, to finish that thought, I thought that it was gonna be it was gonna have that blue tint that a lot of the crime movies have, and a lot of like the investigating thing, and what is this, what is that, the whole thriller aspect. And it was gonna be way too hard for me to enjoy. As you can see, it has a blue tint. I'm not a fan of blue tint films. Movies like, for example, Harry Potter, that take place in the dark, but instead of making it just dark, they make it blue. And I read, ooh, a raven. Dude, if you could see that, a huge raven just, okay, it left. That's creepy. Like, Cardi B, that's weird. That's suspicious. But anyway, this one, regardless of it having a blue tint and a very search and find type of concept to it, I enjoyed it. At first, like I said, I was like, okay, it's what I expected. That's why I wouldn't have purchased it from the get-go as soon as I saw it, at Target. But then as the movie progressed, I was starting like, okay. And also, keep in mind that I haven't watched a horror movie in a while prior to watching this one. So it's kind of like drinking Coke, or any soda. If you spend like half a year without drinking soda and you just drink it out of nowhere, it's gonna feel like, whoa, the gas, it's a little too much. So that's what this one was. I was like, I wonder if this is gonna keep the same, because after the whole Gabriel thing, after the whole medical stuff, it actually gets creepy, in my opinion. At least that's the horror that works with me, is witch horror, devil horror, ghost horror, anything that's around the whole the vernacular of Christianity and the evils and depicted in that religion, because I grew up Catholic, so that's my thing. So I really wondered, where is this movie going to go? Is it going to keep being like the investigator film, or what? And I'm glad that they didn't focus too much on the creepiness, because when you have a film like, okay, I do want it to have very strong core of horror. Obviously, if it's going to be categorized as horror, it better. But when you have all of these details, like who's Gabriel, then make it interesting as well, because then I'm going to either lose interest, or I'm gonna think the movie is oversaturated with the feel of, ooh, something's happening. I also love that it doesn't have it doesn't rely heavily on jump scares. One of the things that I must comment on is the music. Every time And I'm sure that they did some kind of psychological investigation. You know, filmmakers know these things. I don't know where I heard about it, but you know, they investigate like the reactions that generally people have from certain sounds and the volume and stuff and the frequency, because they play this sound that goes every time something bad's gonna happen. So you know already if somebody's gonna get murdered or the villain Gabriel is going to come out. But for me, it was a little comical, and here's why. There's a Latino rapper called Bad Bunny. I don't know if you remember him from the Super Bowl. He was alongside Shakira for their presentation. I know that J-Lo was there too, and J Balvin. And he has a song called I think it's Yo Perreo Sola, which is kind of like I dance alone, but perreo is like a kind of like, you know, you drop below, you know, you I'm not gonna do it here, but anyway, the whole point is that listen to it, like look it up on YouTube, Bad Bunny Yo Perreo Sola, and at the beginning of the song, at the very beginning of the actual song, because it has like a little intro at the beginning, it goes is the same sound that they play here. So I'm like, is somebody about to twerk on me or something? But obviously that didn't happen. I'm saying nonsense. So back to the movie. It had a good balance. That's what I meant to say with all of this. It had a good balance of horror and kind of keeping me like clenched up, but at the same time it gave you time to be like, let me investigate what is going on and make it interesting. I look past the blue tint, I look past the whole investigator thing, I look past the whole full-blown intensity of the film, and the final product was something that I really enjoyed. I mean, James Wan was involved in this film. Yes, director James Wan returns to his roots. He worked on, you know, Insidious. Insidious is one of my favorite films. I think one of the very, very fun franchises and one of my favorite films of all time. So I really, really trust in his vision, and I wasn't disappointed. I felt like I knew where it was going, but I'm glad that it took some turns. Was I surprised with all of the turns that it took? I wasn't surprised. Some of them, yeah, it was kind of like, well, I didn't see it going that way, you know. But once it started, you know, piling up evidence after evidence after evidence, I was like, I know where this is going. It's pretty simple in that sense. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. But nonetheless, I was very pleased. Like, I don't have to, it doesn't always have to be like, wow, what's going on for me to enjoy it, even though it is kind of a thrillerish film, and that's what they rely on. But anyway, I've been rambling on and on and on. The movie's amazing. It has good scares, it has good kills. That the infamous scene where he's kind of backwards. Well, Madison is like backwards killing that person. Awesome scene. That's one of the only captures that I remember seeing on the internet. I think Bloody Disgusting on Facebook shared an article with that. That's why, you know, I heard a lot of things about the film. I didn't remember exactly what I read, and I'm glad that I didn't, because I had a chance to watch it. Now I'm gonna go back to like the YouTube videos and see what people are commenting on, because I read on Wikipedia before doing this review just now, and yeah, I forgot the names, even though I searched it up. I read that it had mixed reviews. I was like, mixed? I thought it was gonna lean more towards the positive. But I don't know. I guess I had to read what other people said. I always try to first give my review so that it's not, you know, other people's thoughts don't impact my own. I would give it a rating of 8.5 out of 10. Maybe 9. I don't know. It's really good. It's just not my favorite subgenre, that's why, but it's really, really good. I'm just gonna have to go with 8.5 out of 10. But if this is your preferred subgenre, then you're gonna have a blast. I'm pretty sure. And that's it for this one. Thank you for watching.